Long ago in Cheolsan, Pyongan province, there lived a respected village elder named Bae Muriong. In his later years he was blessed with two daughters, Janghwa and Hongryeon. Not long afterward, his wife, Lady Jang, passed away. Bae Muriong later remarried a woman named Lady Hyo, and together they had three sons. Lady Hyo was harsh in appearance and cruel in heart. She constantly mistreated Janghwa and Hongryeon, who were born to Bae Muriong's first wife. Her abuse grew worse over time, and eventually she even framed Janghwa with a false accusation of pregnancy and abortion. One day, Lady Hyo claimed to have discovered a dead mouse hidden beneath Janghwa's bedding. She presented it as evidence that Janghwa, though unmarried, had become pregnant and secretly aborted the child. At that time, Korean society during the Joseon dynasty strongly favored sons over daughters. As discussions about the sisters' future marriages began, Lady Hyo's hostility toward them intensified. When daughters married, their families were expected to provide dowries. Lady Hyo feared that if Janghwa and Hongryeon received generous dowries, less of the family wealth would remain for her own three sons. But her hatred went far beyond concerns over dowries. In those days, women were entitled to a form of inheritance known as bunjae, which was similar to inheritance rights today. Janghwa and Hongryeon's birth mother had come from a wealthy family and had brought extensive farmland and hundreds of servants into her marriage. According to custom, these assets would eventually be distributed to her daughters when they married. Consumed by greed and jealousy, Lady Hyo decided that Janghwa must die before she could inherit what rightfully belonged to her. The only way Lady Hyo's sons could inherit all of Bae Muriong's wealth was if Janghwa and Hongryeon died before their marriages, leaving the property solely in their father's possession. Meanwhile, Bae Muriong deliberately ignored the suffering of his daughters. Because Lady Hyo had given him sons, he chose not to see the abuse taking place before his eyes. Eventually, Lady Hyo ordered her eldest son, Yong Soi, to carry out her wicked plan. He pushed Janghwa into a pond and drowned her. Soon after her death, beautiful lotus flowers began growing thickly across the surface of the pond where she had perished. Hongryeon often visited the pond with her sister when they were young. Unable to bear the grief of losing Janghwa, she eventually followed her sister into death at the very same pond. After the tragic deaths of Janghwa and Hongryeon, a series of mysterious events began to plague Cheolsan. Every newly appointed magistrate died on the very first night of his arrival. The spirits of the two sisters, unable to find peace after their unjust deaths, would appear before each new magistrate to tell their story. Yet before they could speak, the terrified officials would die from shock at the sight of the ghosts. Some accounts say the sisters appeared with their long hair hanging loose, their faces completely hidden as they wept sorrowfully. The royal court became deeply concerned and attempted to appoint new magistrates to Cheolsan. However, every candidate refused the position after hearing the frightening rumors. At last, a courageous man named Jong Dong-woo volunteered to serve as the new magistrate of Cheolsan. The local officials were convinced that he too would be dead by morning. Some even prepared a coffin in advance. Late that night, while Magistrate Jong slept, the lamp in his room suddenly went out. The door slowly creaked open. Startled, he immediately sat up, seized the long sword resting beside his bed, and shouted, "Are you ghosts? What grievance do you carry that you have killed innocent officials of the kingdom?" At those words, Janghwa and Hongryeon knelt before him and began to weep. At last, A magistrate willing to hear our story has arrived. The sisters then revealed the truth about their tragic deaths. Although Jong Dong-woo was initially shocked to learn that the visitors were spirits, he remained calm and listened carefully to every word. When they had finished, he said, "I have heard your story. Tomorrow I will uncover the truth and clear your names." The sisters bowed deeply. "Thank you, magistrate. We place our trust in your promise." Then Janghwa added, "Please show mercy to our father. He was deceived by Lady Heo and did not understand the truth." After bowing once more, the sisters quietly vanished through the doorway. The next morning, the officials at the government office assumed the new magistrate had met the same fate as all the others. As they prepared for another funeral, they opened the door and were astonished. There sat Magistrate Jeong in full official robes, calmly waiting in the center of the room. "What? The magistrate is alive," Jeong laughed. "Did you all think I was dead?" Then he immediately gave an order. "Bring Bai Muriong and Lady Heo before me at once." Accompanied by Lady Heo, Jang Soe, and many townspeople, Magistrate Jeong traveled to the pond. There the bodies of Janghwa and Hongryeon were discovered. The remains were recovered and physicians examined them. Their findings proved beyond doubt that Janghwa had never been pregnant. Her honor was finally restored. Magistrate Jeong arranged proper funerals for the sisters and built graves worthy of their memory. Rather than passing judgment himself, he reported the case to the provincial governor and requested guidance. The governor replied, "This matter has already become a serious concern for the royal court. It is not for one man to decide. Report everything directly to His Majesty." When the king read Jong Dong-woo's report, he was deeply moved by the sisters' tragic fate. He was filled with fury toward Lady Heo and her son. The king ordered Lady Heo to be executed by beating and Jang Soe to be executed by strangulation. As for Bai Muriong, the king acknowledged that he bore responsibility for allowing his daughters to suffer. However, he had been completely deceived by Lady Heo and had not knowingly participated in their deaths. For the sake of the two sisters, the king granted him a special pardon. After all grievances had finally been resolved, Janghwa and Hongryeon appeared in Magistrate Jeong's dream. "Thank you for clearing our names and ending our suffering. From this day forward, Cheol-san will enjoy abundant harvests every year, and your career will continue to prosper." The prophecy proved true. Jong Dong-woo rose steadily through the ranks of government and eventually became a high-ranking commander. In gratitude, he honored the sisters with memorial rites every year for the rest of his life. Many years later, Bai Muriong married for a third time. His new wife, Lady Yoon, was only 18 years old. In time, she gave birth to twin daughters. People believed the twins were the reincarnations of Janghwa and Hongryeon. Bai Muriong named them once again Janghwa and Hongryeon. When they grew up, the sisters married the twin sons of a wealthy man from Pyongyang named Lee Yon-ho. The two families became united through marriage, and the sisters lived long and happy lives. Thus ends the tale of Janghwa and Hongryeon, one of Korea's most famous stories of injustice, vengeance, and ultimate redemption.